Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I am watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning, then discussing with my wife Abby and our friend Nate. This week, join us as we discuss the next 3 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation: Deja Q, A Matter of Perspective, and Yesterday's Enterprise. Now, energize. Should we talk about some Star Trek episodes?
We should.
All right. So, it's been a little while. First episode. So this one was because of when we recorded and when we decided to skip a recording. I watched like half of this episode last week and then finished it up this week, but still had a pretty good feel for what was going on in it in episode 13 of season 3, in which the crew is surprised by the appearance of their mischievous nemesis Q in Deja Q.
With an episode title like
So
that, gee, I wonder who was going to show
I
up.
yeah, I wonder. Mud, obviously.
Obviously.
So I know I've said before, or I'm pretty sure I've said before. If I haven't said it, I've absolutely thought it. Q is the Star Trek The Next Generation version of Doug Judy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, you have
Shows
said
up
it, and it is.
shows up once or twice a season and it just yeah. And the first time I thought kind of an annoying character. Didn't really care for him. But I think my experience with Q, I was first introduced to this notion that there was something in the episode Charlie X of the original series, because you two were talking about I believe it was the Thasians, and they were a little bit like Q in their like omnipotent, all-powerful kind of thing. And so you had some big comparisons there. And I don't know if it's his voice or what it was, but what we have, not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but I can say definitively it was not this. Um, but Q has really grown on me. I feel like my my relationship with Q, my feelings towards Q seems a little bit like Picard's. I think Picard seems like he doesn't like Q, but deep down
Yeah,
he's kind of like, I'm glad he's here this week.
yeah.
And so
So
that's
my
that's
life
kind of
is
where
less
I am.
boring at the moment.
Right. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. I thought this was a great episode. I
Uh,
gave it an 8. I thought it was, yeah, it was just great. I don't think I can go a 9 on it, but I also can't really pinpoint anything that's particularly wrong with the episode, but maybe that's okay. It's just it is a great episode. Um there were so many strong points in it that I just really enjoyed, and it was interesting seeing a mortal Q for a little bit, and
mhm.
and seeing him juxtaposed with Data throughout the entire episode, and Data basically explaining the human experience to him, but Q then experiencing the human experience to Data.
Yep.
It was just a really compelling episode. I really enjoyed it.
And so goddamn funny.
Yeah,
I there
I'm not hungry anymore.
there were scenes. I watched this a couple weekends ago, when I was home with Ellie and Katie was up to listen. And so it was after Ellie went to bed last night. I put this on, and that's a good thing because Katie hates Q, like absolutely can't stand him. Um, and there were moments while I was watching this episode where I was laughing so hard I was crying. Like it was so goddamn funny. Especially just like from the jump, from the moment he shows up, it's just very funny.
Hmm.
Um, I remember liking this episode. I didn't remember liking it as much as I did. I laughed very, very hard throughout the whole thing. I thought the story was great. I thought, it's very predictable to think that Q might have something to do with this moon that's suddenly not in the right orbit anymore, but also very predictable that it's just sheer coincidence and
Hmm.
yada yada yada. And yes, you kind of see how it would be wrapped up. Like it's not a shock that somehow Q gets his powers back and
Hmm.
fixes it, and that's the end of the episode. But you know what? I don't care. It
Yeah,
works. All
it
all of that
was
works.
it was
Um,
well executed.
so I gave it a 9. I love this episode
Okay.
so much. Um,
It, I could see it being a nine. Like I said, I went to an eight. Not sure, but at the same time, like I said, I can't really point out anything that was negative or bad in the episode. It was just really a solid one. It was fun, it was funny, there was depth in some of the discussions they had. Really, what more can you ask
Yeah. It,
of it?
it was a borderline 10 for me. And kind of like you,
Wow.
you can't figure out, what was wrong with it that would maybe, take it from the 8 to the 9. I can't really point to a single thing that tells me it shouldn't be a 10, but I'm staying with the 9.
Yeah.
It was still a great episode. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah. Abby?
I'm with you. 9. Q is just an iconic character at this point. So no matter how many times I see him, it just brings back nostalgia. And it's even if I already have seen some parts of him, you feel like you already understand that character. And it's just the shenanigans he's going to have is just anticipatory. So you'll sit there and you wait for what craziness is he going to say. And this one, he didn't let down. Just the one liners, even about, well, I should have been a Klingon. Oh, I should have been a Romulan. Oh, just the one liners he has are so self standing. He could literally continue on his own without any other interaction from cast members, and I'd be entertained. So, and then more than that, Riker's responses to Q always crack me up. No matter what happens, Riker always gives the best facial expressions that just, I don't know how they didn't break while filming every time.
I'm sure they did. There's no way.
I
Like,
mean, it's just
I
so
want to know how
funny.
many takes they took for some of these scenes.
So this one in particular, I really appreciate because they did juxtapose someone who didn't want to be human with someone who definitely did want to be human. And that was a very interesting combo, having Data be his essentially chaperone through humanity, which I feel like isn't the first time Data has served as like the liaison for humanity, having not been human, which calls into question, do people who aren't human know more about humanity because it's on a textbook style review.
Yep.
So Data knows everything on the science of humans, everything from the textbook of it, but does that teach humanity? And so that was a really interesting storyline on that. On this one in particular, we got to see, God, maybe Q isn't as bad as, I mean, he's always funny. Doesn't mean he's not a horrible person.
Right.
Maybe there's a grain of goodness to Q. And I think this is one of the first episodes we get to see that positive relationship bloom between Picard and Q that we will see continuing, spoilers for the rest of the series. But it's
Yeah.
it's great to see. And you love seeing it kind of bloom to start with.
I just I, that scene on the bridge when Q first shows up, my God, like the for the transcripts, Picard, what is it that you want, Q? Your compassion. All right, sanctuary on the ship, dreary as it may sound to both of us. Picard, return that moon to its orbit. Q, I have no powers. Q the ordinary. Picard, Q the liar. Q the misanthrope. Q. Q the miserable. Q the desperate. What must I do to convince you people? Worf, die. Oh, very clever, Worf. Eat any good books lately?
Yes.
Fine. You want
Yeah.
to be treated as a human? Absolutely. All right, Mr. Worf. Throw him in the brig. Delighted, Captain. Just,
Yeah.
God, it's so funny. It was so well acted and so well written.
Yeah. He
It is
was he was
a
awesome.
perfect scene.
I I The line I think I liked the most at the end was when he was talking to Riker and he was like, "You weren't like that before the beard."
Yeah, I got that reference too.
Uh,
I half wondered if that was a kind of a plant in there by the writers to kind of note that,
hmm
the show got better is when Riker grew the beard. So we're going to make a callback to when the show sucked,
Yeah,
or was less great, you know?
yeah. I thought it was so much good in this episode. Um, I will be pressured in. I'll bump it up to a 9 because yeah, it was that good. There was nothing really bad about it. I can't go 10 because yeah, but it was just a yeah, everything about it just worked.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I it was so you talked about how often we see Q. I was looking at it a little bit. Do you know how many episodes we have seen with Q so far?
Three?
Abby?
I think we've seen 3. Yeah.
Was it four?
Yeah, this was number 4.
Okay.
Okay.
And apparently he is in only 8 episodes of Next Gen.
I am telling you,
But
like,
it's amazing that he's been in 4 episodes of the I think I saw something after all 3 of these 63 episodes we've watched of Next Generation. Yet he feels so much bigger than that. I don't know if they've referenced him outside of the Q episodes, or if it's just so different because I don't know if they ever in the original series had any recurring characters in the same season. I know Mud came back, but they didn't have any in the same season. So we've seen more of him regularly. It's not his once a year appearance, I guess.
yep,
But yeah, really, really interesting character. And it was an interesting twist this time in that it didn't feel like he was just fucking with the Enterprise the whole time. It
right.
felt like it almost felt like he had lost his powers and become mortal and was a different, like fundamentally changed character that then we saw go through this, showing that he had to prove he was capable of some selfless act or whatever. And I don't know if there was some guarantee that he was going to get his powers back or if he was just doing as he felt compelled to do. I thought that was just a very fascinating take for the character and a fun way to develop this recurring character, not a main character, but still feels like a very important figure in the series.
Yeah, it didn't feel like he knew if he did something selfless, everything would go back to normal. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's good because I think if he knew that, he would probably do something that looked to be selfless that maybe wasn't in an effort to earn his powers back. Like, I liked how they wrote that.
Q would have
Um,
gamed it.
yeah, 100%. It's cute. He games everything. So I like that they didn't do that, right?
I
Yeah.
liked
Yeah,
that
I agree.
you show that genuineness of it though when the other Q showed up and he's like, "What am I supposed to do with you now?"
Yep.
Just that kind of irritation by him, like, "Well, I can't send you back. You're not worth the problem." And he was
Right.
kind of begrudging.
Like, what is happening here?
Well, who are
Uh,
you? Why would you do
but I did
this?
like them when he took the like space gas thing in his hand. The guy just popped in through the wall, like, hmm,
Yeah.
still still got to
What do you
behave,
know
still got to behave, man.
now?
He was like,
And
I was just talking to him.
who played the other Q?
I don't know.
Corbin Burnson?
I've heard the name.
That dude was in
I've seen him
everything.
in stuff, but I don't know what.
Yeah. He was in Major League, both movies.
Hmm.
Um, God, he was in everything in the 90s.
Um, no, but what I thought was really a compelling line they went down in this episode was Q saying he couldn't survive being a mere mortal. And
Mhm.
I think we see it's interesting to see a formerly omnipotent being losing that power and then struggling to find that justification to keep going. Just like, what's the point in any of it? Um, but I think we kind of see that in that struggle throughout just things in life anyway. If somebody loses that high level job they had and has to take a step back or has to gets a demotion or anything like that happens, you see this, I think, internal struggle, almost existential of like, what's the point if like I can't survive without what I've grown to live with, or in the case of Q, maybe always had. So it was really interesting to see that comparison between this omnipotent, all-powerful being and then the humans who seem so strong when we see them week to week, but then when we see them compared to something like Q, they do seem like small and weak and not powerful. But then there's that strength that's inherent in that because they're surviving at that level when this omnipotent being is like, I couldn't do that, which is just, yeah, kind of a fascinating comparison they make.
It brings into that question too of how much of our personality is defined by what we consider our powers. So, like you said, the
Mhm.
CEO, that's a form of power. You
Mhm.
know, someone who's very, very good at something, that's a form of power. So, how much of our personality is derived by what we have control over, like that?
Mhm.
What we say
Yeah.
we own or have complete, in Q's case, it's omnipotence. Um, but his personality was central to that. So you take that away, and he had an existential crisis. So it's interesting, but also you kind of wonder, are humans just his pets at that point? Before that, it was always just like the toy. But now he's got this, like, well, I don't want to be a worm. I mean, I could do that, but I mean, I might as well go play with my pet, I guess.
Right.
I mean,
I mean, look, if someone said you couldn't be human anymore, would you decide to be like a cat or a dog at that point?
yeah, or a dung beetle, right? What's your
Yeah.
choice?
Like,
I guess why
I
not?
think being a dog would be kind of fun. Why not?
Depends on
So,
what country I live in, but yeah.
dog here. I would like to come back as a golden retriever on a farm somewhere.
I'm going to tangent this just for a second.
Yep.
I had a doctor's appointment this week, and they're reading off my allergy list, and I have a seasonal allergy. I'm allergic to dogs, like most people are, or a lot of people are. Well, food allergy wise, I'm allergic to lamb and beef. So they're reading off my chart, and they go, "Okay, so you're allergic to dog, beef, and lamb." And I have to say out loud, I don't eat dog. I don't eat dog. Please correct that in the chart.
Yeah.
I'm not eating dogs on the
I
regular,
am
guys.
allergic to dog hair.
Dog dander. I don't eat dog.
Oh, Lord, that's funny.
Too many Chinese restaurants. I
Yep,
found that out the hard way, apparently.
apparently. Oh, um, I don't know that I had a ton else. I mean, it's such a great episode.
Yeah, it really was. Um, I thought I liked some of the lines. I'm trying to find where they were. Um, hang on.
I found one of them while you're looking. When
Yeah.
the very end, when Q shows back up on the bridge with the mariachi band, because I'm forgiven. My brothers and sisters in the continuum have taken me back. I'm immortal again, omnipotent again. And Riker just goes, swell. Just like, great.
I missed that.
Riker
Oh
is
my God.
I
amazing.
so my takeaway from that scene that I made note of is I always find it a bit tilting when people are playing an instrument in a show or a movie that they clearly have no idea
Their
how
fingers
to
aren't moving with
actually
the,
play. And so, yeah, him playing that trumpet, it was just like, oh, no.
no,
It 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 seemed close, but like the dubbing was off. So
yeah.
it's just like, nope, nope. So you see it a lot of times when people are playing guitars. Like I
Guitars.
didn't thinking about the mariachi band. They seemed like they were legit.
I
But
I wanted to
Q
bet
playing the
Mariachi
trumpet,
Man was real. But the rest of it,
Q playing the trumpet was like, nope, nope, just a little off and took me out of it. But still not a major not a major complaint. Um, I like the hang on, I'm gonna find the line. When uh yeah, when Picard is justifying trying to save Q, and he's just like, it's a perfectly
mm-mm.
good shuttlecraft, and he's just trying
Yeah,
to like he doesn't want to admit that he likes Q as an entity in his life. Um,
yep.
yeah, I thought
And he wants to do the right thing. Like
yeah
he consistently wants to do the right thing.
yeah I again, there were so many points in the episode where they were just talking about like for a funny, silly episode, they had a lot of deep things they were exploring in it with the nature of humanity and all of that. And I liked Q's line or the dialogue with Picard when Q says, "You're very smart, Jean-Luc, but I know human beings. They're all sopping over with compassion and forgiveness. They can't wait to absolve almost any offense. It's an inherent weakness in the breed." And Picard said, "On the contrary, it is a strength." And Q, "You call it what you will, but I think you'll protect me even though I've tortured you now and again." And it made me think, like, Q says it's a weakness, Picard says it's a strength. What does that say about a situation where an adversary views as weakness that which you view as a strength?
Yep.
Um, like, if you think it's your strength and they think this is my best point of attack, that's kind of an interesting scenario.
And then who's right?
And it's not one that you can really just say, we'll agree to disagree,
Yep.
because I think in that scenario, only one can be right, but maybe both could be wrong, but only one can really be right, because they are a little mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know that through testing, right? That's about
Yeah.
all you can do. You have to test the theory.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting how consistent the story writers are in that running theme of Q to the series. So, what was Q's first episode? What was he doing with humanity?
He's testing them.
Yeah.
Testing them, testing humanity. And
Mhm.
every time he comes back, it's that continual test, right?
Yep.
Well, now it's almost like a juxtaposition on
Yeah.
that.
It was almost
Now now humanity's testing him. And that entire piece of it is just so interesting that it's for the person who's supposed to be testing those people as his entire entity, the role is almost reversed. Now we are testing him. Does he have morality? Does he have ability to self-sacrifice? Is he worth saving at this point?
yep.
And so maybe that's why it was so captivating, I guess. Because it's still that reoccurring storyline that still kind of hits those feels in the back more than just a surface level episode. It's a deeper episode than that.
Yeah, and I think that's what made the episode so good that on the surface, it was funny, it was silly. You've got this outrageous, like Q is an outrageous character.
Yes.
In every interaction we've had with him, he is just over the top, just yeah, just an outrageous character. And at the same time, there was so much to this episode, so much that they were exploring in theory and in theory and in philosophy of humanity. Yeah, really, really enjoyable episode. I don't have
The
that much more to say about it though, and we can
the
move
one
Any
on
thing I'll
whenever
trivia
you
on it,
guys are
Nate?
ready.
because I wrote it as a note. We talked a couple weeks ago when we watched, or I talked about when we watched The Hunted,
Hmm.
about the fact that Troy was in the brig and there didn't seem to be anyone else in the brig with her.
Hmm.
And in this episode, I noticed same set. They've got Q in the brig, and when they're down there, there's some random person sitting at a desk in the background. So apparently, Q in his non-omnipotent form is more dangerous than
Super Soldier.
yeah, Roga Danar from The Hunted. So go figure.
All right.
So that's all I got.
All right. Should we move on to the next episode?
Oh, you don't want trivia? Because there's
Oh, trivia. Let's go.
there's trivia. We're gonna open it with a banger. You ready?
Hmm.
After several unsuccessful attempts by director Les Landau to film Q's nude scene without forcing the actor to be actually naked, a frustrated John Delancey finally asked anyone offended by nudity to leave, strip down, and film the scene in one take.
No way.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
fuck this. Um, this is John Delancey's favorite appearance as Q. He reportedly said he had legitimate fun on set. It was also his last appearance before the release of the movie Taking Care of Business in 1990, where he appeared with Gates McFadden, Dr. Crusher.
Really?
I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it. Let's see. The you might not have caught it. I caught it because I'm a nerd like that, and I unfortunately have to use this meme several times a day at work. But this episode contains the Picard facepalm, which became an internet meme.
I
Oh, that was
missed.
that. Where that was in this one? Where was
That was
it?
in this one. He's on the
When?
bridge. Does everyone know what?
I missed.
Yeah.
I missed that one. I did pick up on the meme in the next episode.
Yes, there's another one there.
I saw that one. The Riker facepalm.
Yep. Let's. I can't spell Picard to save my life, but we'll share my screen real quick, just so we can. Oh, I have to send a request.
What? I gotta
All right.
change my defaults.
Apparently. Oh, and I don't have Zoom set up to share screen on my Mac. So can I just put this in chat? And in order for me to turn that on, I have to restart the program. There we go.
Yeah.
That's from this episode. I'm not joking.
I missed it.
You got to go back and watch it again just to see that.
I guess
legit use that. There's a Slack emoji of that too.
so.
I use that at least half a dozen times a day. Along with the cartoon dog with the fire in the background saying this.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much my life these days. Let's see what else. Let's see. The mariachi band was playing the folk song La Paloma, Spanish for the dove. The English version is called No More and was made popular by Elvis Presley. Let's see here. As a thank you gift to Data, Q gives him the gift of laughter, but it's not the first time Data is seen laughing. In Manhunt, Wesley, Commander Riker, and Data are joking about Captain Picard's reaction to Deanna Troy's mother, and Data is laughing along with the others. Although Data may have pantomimed laughing in the past, he states in Deja Q that he does not know what laughter feels like. This gift grants Data the knowledge of what it truly feels like to laugh, not just mimicking laughter. At the start of the episode, the moon is said to be just 500 kilometers from the planet. A moon that close would have already caused significant damage to the planet due to its gravitational effect. A little blip there. Let's see here. Obviously, the title is based on the phrase deja vu, the experience of feeling sure that one has witnessed or experienced a situation previously. And then the final one that I think answers part of our question from early on in the discussion. The final scene, when Q appears on the bridge with the mariachi band to celebrate his restored powers, required numerous takes to get the final result. John Delancey's acting was so over the top, it caused many of the cast and crew to burst out laughing. So finally, the director, Les Landau, used wide-angle cameras with the actors' backs turned toward them for the first half of the scene. In fact, during the take that made it on air, Michael Dorn can clearly be seen putting his head down to hide his face because he could not hold back laughter.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So there's no way. I should probably go look. I bet there's a YouTube compilation of
Bloopers.
bloopers and outtakes from
Yeah.
this episode. So that's it. That's that. Good trivia for once.
All right. All right. Well, should we move on to the next episode?
We shall.
Episode 14. Riker is suspected of murdering a respected scientist who had accused the Enterprise officer of seducing his wife in A Matter of Perspective. Another episode that makes me not want to deal with the court system or judicial system of the 24th century because their standards are lacking.
A little bit of trash.
I mean, apparently reasonable doubt, not a thing. Burden of proof.
Well,
Of course,
they
burden of
actually say that in this episode of their society, you're guilty until proven
yeah.
innocent.
I did miss that, I guess, but then I find it interesting that like what could take me out of the episode a little bit is that Picard even entertained it then.
Mhm.
She'd just be like, "No, I'm not going to go with this backwards way of doing things just because you say so." I mean, he's also diplomatic and there's all that, and you don't want to like piss off people that you're trying to be allied with or have peace with, but yeah, it
Well,
was
I
just
mean,
like
do
yeah,
we
that
call it what
that
it is? It's a bad episode.
I all in all, I didn't hate the episode. I had plenty of complaints about the judicial system they were using, but they were the same complaints I've had with basically any court type episode of Star Trek we've seen. I mean, it felt like we've seen this episode before, whether it was the menagerie or court martial. I think we've seen it one or two times in
Wolf in the
Next Gen,
Fold.
even Wolf in the Fold.
Yeah,
I
we've
don't
seen a bunch of
remember.
these.
I don't remember that episode per
It's
se.
basically,
I
I'm looking at the trivia. It's basically a ripoff of
okay.
that episode.
It felt very much like an episode we had seen. Uh, I thought it was interesting though, just seeing the different ways they like just the ways they went about it. I could probably talk for hours about how stupid some of the court judicial system stuff was, but at the same time that maybe me tearing that apart added to my enjoyment of it. I gave the episode a 7. I thought it was fine. Um, Not great, not terrible. I mean, it's not nowhere near as good as the last episode we watched. Um, but yeah, it was enjoyable enough. Probably a bit forgettable.
Abby, what did you think?
I'm kind of on the same lines. I think I did 7.5 because I mean, it's an episode I'd watch again. Didn't really think much of it, but I enjoyed it just for the sake of enjoying it. I loved that, Geordi kind of saved the day on that along with our good old boy Wesley, but still, I love that there was a rational reason behind everyone kind of being kind of right on it
Hmm.
and a really interesting conversation of perspective matters. I mean,
Hmm.
everyone was telling the same story, kind of. And that was interesting to me that with all of that, it still could be an alternative. And it made me think, how often does that happen in real life where it's like, crap, all the pieces
Right.
fit like this, but that's
Mhm.
not the story. There's a piece that we hadn't even considered that everything falls into place for it. So it's a little bit sad on that end, but it was gross seeing Riker being
Gross.
gross. Yeah,
Yep.
that was hard because Riker's not that character to me, even though he is kind of a man whore sometimes. But he isn't been a man. He's not really a man whore like this season on. He stopped.
When he grew the
he
beard.
grew the
That's like
beard,
you
like
said
Riker,
in the
like
last
Q said.
episode.
Exactly.
You were
That
more
the
fun before the
accuracy of
beard.
that. And when did he shave the beard? When he started being a man whore again.
Yep.
So it's
Wait,
a
he
thing.
loses the beard?
Hang on. Hang on. He will lose the beard.
It's awful. Why would you do that?
Exactly.
So I will say the name of the episode, and I took your advice and avoided the little blurb before watching the final episode this week.
Yep.
And I try to avoid those because I don't want to see those
I know. I
spoilers.
just I really didn't want you to read that
seeing
blurb.
yeah, but seeing this one was about some murder investigation and called a matter of perspective, it made me think I always go back to it. It was a commercial. I saw an ad for a show that came out probably 2011. I don't even remember exactly, maybe 2012. It was a remake of the old show Ironside. And it
Yep.
was about a cop who got shot and paralyzed and was still wanting to be a cop.
Yep.
And in the trailer where I called like this show is going to bomb, absolutely bomb. And I don't know how long it lasted. It may have been like 4 episodes, but in the trailer they're going around this crime scene and he picks up a gun and holds it up and this guy is just like, how the hell did you see that? He's like, I got a different view of the world from down here in his in his wheelchair. I was like, oh my God, this is a piece of shit show. I've never watched it. Maybe I should go watch it all and see how terrible it truly is. But seeing the name A Matter of Perspective, I always think of that line. I got a different view of the world from down here. And it's just like, oh God, I hope it's not something like that.
That's like a Family Guy line.
I know it.
It is.
Watch the trailer for that show, and it is like what what a sitcom or Family Guy would make up as a bullshit show that they were going to create. And I apologize if I'm offending anybody that loved that show or somehow somebody who made that show is listening. I am sorry.
They have bad taste. I don't know.
But yeah, it was like this is the lines they had in the trailer. It was like this is the shit that they would make up for Saturday Night Live. And like a show that they're pretending they're making. But I think it was a legit show that lasted all of
I
6
remember when it
episodes.
exists, like the remake, and I'm pretty sure I watched reruns of the original show, um, like way back in the day. The other thing
Yeah.
that this makes me think of is, you see all these, different perspectives, right? The same people
Yep.
seeing the same scenario in different ways and drawing their own conclusions, which I think number one, I felt like it was really choppy how they pulled all those together. And it didn't, I don't feel like that came together in the end, like why they had such different perspectives. But it does make me think of, to go full nerd, one of my other favorite sci-fi shows of all time that might be a follow-on to this podcast when we've caught up with all the Star Trek is Babylon 5.
Okay.
Don't look
You've
me
talked
like
about that one. How do you get past the weird creature thing though?
oh, it's so great. Don't
Like the animation on it is just really not animation, but like
the CGI on it
the
is
CGI is really
in the
rough now.
90s was top tier.
I
Today,
know. And it's like Buffy, right? I really,
yeah,
really, really want to watch it and love it because I love Joss Whedon, but it's so hard when it's so
yeah.
90s to just get past the 90s. It's like
The,
you can't even watch the first 2 seasons of Friends. Same reason. It's like this is too 90s for me.
but so on Babylon 5, there's a repeated line that one of the characters, who's an alien, uses. he's a very cryptic person, and he always goes, understanding is a three-edged sword, and it gets repeated often throughout the show until finally one of the main characters, like, it finally clicks, and one day he goes, understanding is a three-edged sword, your side, my side, and the truth. And it's that whole thing of like, somebody has one perspective, somebody has another perspective. The reality of what it is really a blend of the two, and it's somewhere in between. And so we see all these different perspectives in this episode, pre-created on the holodeck, which feels a little like hearsay anyway. I guess technically it
was their way of capturing their testimony.
Yeah, but and I get that they were trying to do something like, here's what we could do in the future that's really cool, versus just somebody on a stand saying this is what happened. I get what they were trying to do, but in doing that, it made it feel very theoretical and very hearsay-ish.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that thing, like, this is her perspective, this is his perspective.
And even then, where again, it was just like, oh, so their whole system is complete bullshit, is he was like, up until Riker is teleporting away, he's like, yep, I agree to all that. And here I'm going to speculate the shit out of this.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, now we're speculating. And it was just like, but isn't speculation not enough? But again, if the burden of proof is on the defendant and you're guilty until proven innocent, because I clearly missed that line, because I think I wrote maybe a few different times, like, who has the burden of proof?
Yeah.
It's like, I believe this is the if you're saying now we're going to speculate, that is the definition of reasonable doubt.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry, I was distracted. Ironside, they made 9 episodes and it was canceled after they aired 4. And the final 5 episodes they released on like iTunes 6 months later. But yeah, I was like, no way. Yep, they saw it. It aired on October 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd of 2013.
So I don't think I gave this a rating.
No, you did not. You just said it was bad.
I gave it a 6. I think that's generous. I'm gonna stick with the 6, but yeah, I think that was generous.
I think I filed this one under. It wasn't a particularly special episode. There wasn't anything great about it, but the show has just elevated its level so much, I think, to this point. Now, we've had a couple stinkers in this season. Like, I'm looking at my ratings. I've got, what, 2 6s and 1 5.
Yeah.
A bunch of 7s, a couple 9s,
We didn't like the
few
price.
8s. So I think this is one where the rising tide is raising all ships.
Probably.
But yeah, it's just they're at the point where even their not great episodes are at least well executed and well done, even if they're not the most compelling, because they're also having some that are setting the bar so high that they need to go a lot better to surpass that bar. But yeah, I don't have much more on this one. I didn't even take that many notes on it.
I didn't take a lot of notes on this one either.
But yeah, it was just kind of like, yeah, it was kind of fun. Moving on.
The only thing I'll say about it was maybe I didn't dislike it as much as you, Nate, because my walk away from it was, I am really surprised this doesn't happen more often. Like, we don't have the storyline on it, but you've got these different cultures trying to look at intentions from a non-human perspective. Forget like culturally different perspective. I mean, we misinterpret each other's intentions, a couple thousand miles away. Yep, now we're talking galaxies away. I cannot believe that this isn't more often. Like, you looked at my big toe. I'm gonna kill you now. That's my genital. I mean, that's actually a joke in one of the movies, I think.
Yep.
So I'm shocked that it doesn't happen more, and they didn't try to use that plot line more within the series, because it makes sense that it would happen. Miscommunications and misunderstandings.
You're not wrong.
And it's one of the few notes I wrote down is how do we, in a legal sense, handle a scenario where somebody truly believes something, but they are completely wrong? I mean, being wrong doesn't mean you're lying.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you tell our
And
kids all the time?
Yeah.
You say that to our kids all the time. And Danny, our youngest, is obviously 7. And she frequently be like, well, you lied, Dad. He's like, no, I didn't know the difference. I didn't know any better. Like, lying is an intentional
yeah.
misrepresentation of the truth versus ignorance of something is non-intentional.
Yeah. And
And then I say, am I
everyone is
wrong?
wrong all the time, right?
And I say, am I wrong? And Danny's just like, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole. Spit that drink out.
The timing on that was perfect. Ah, all right. There's only a handful of trivia points on this. There's not a lot. Kind of goes to the fact that there's just not a lot for this episode.
Yeah.
So I mentioned already that the plot is similar to Wolf in the Fold. Both stories have a Star Trek regular character being accused of murder on a planet with an unusual justice system.
Which one's Wolf on the Planet again? Can someone remind me?
I'd have to, well, actually, I can just click the link and it will tell me the description of the episode because IMDb is Kirk and the Enterprise computer become detectives after Scotty is accused of murdering women on a pleasure planet. Oh, you remember that one? We
Oh,
hated
in the
that
Jack,
alleys.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah,
Jack the Ripper
that was such
episode,
a
that's
terrible
right.
episode.
That was garbage.
It was not good.
That's where we made Scotty the man whore at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Remember? He was just like chasing tail.
It was just so bad.
Did
So
my Scotty dirty.
the cold open obviously has, the painting scene, right?
Yep.
That was funny though. I will say that was a funny
Very
episode.
funny.
And like
Like
I love
Data
that they actually
breaking it
didn't
down.
show. Yeah, and I actually love that they didn't show us Picard's work. They
Yeah.
show everybody
I
else's
love
work
that they
and
didn't show
everything.
that either.
They didn't show us Picard's to be like Data's being overly critical. We're just left to believe like, oh, Data must be right. Picard sucks.
So the trivia
And
here
Picard
is
got pissed.
Picard is never seen painting again.
Poor Picard.
And a
Data
deleted
broke him.
scene had Picard throw red paint at his painting after Data's crushing criticism of his work. And I want that deleted scene. Like I want to see him just like wing a thing of red paint at. Very funny. This, as we mentioned before, this is the source of the wildly popular Riker facepalm meme.
Yep.
The set regularly used for the observation lounge was redressed to serve as the art studio. The table and the wall with the model of ships named Enterprise were removed to make the room a lot bigger. Second episode in a row to feature a strategically shot, fully nude person.
Mm-hmm. When I saw that in this episode, I was like, man, they got away with a lot on network TV
Yeah, they sure did.
back
Here-
back in the early 90s.
Here's a piece of trivia that I didn't catch, and I think it's brilliant. And I'm mad at myself that I didn't catch it. Neither one of you brought it up, so you clearly didn't catch it either.
Did I have notes?
So they call it the teaser, the cold open.
Mhm.
Of 3 people painting a naked muse ties into the episode's plot of different characters recounting their own versions of the same story.
That's interesting. I did not pick up on that, but I
Ooh.
do recall
That is
thinking,
clever.
I do recall thinking during that scene, I was like, how the hell is this gonna come back?
Yep.
Like,
But
because I
it's
get because
artsy too.
it's not really a show that has a cold open that's entirely unrelated
Yeah.
to the episode. So I did have the thought, I didn't write it down, but I had the thought like, what does this have to do with a murder investigation episode?
Mhm.
That's very interesting.
I think it's a great tie-in. And like I said, I'm mad I didn't catch that.
Now Nate thinks this episode's a 9. Brilliant.
I don't. It does not save it for me. I just think that scene is brilliant.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's
oh,
it. Yeah,
no, the one thing one note I made, when they were just like, there's radiation detected in this area, and then what do? They're just like, let's go touch it.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Clearly, why not?
yeah. Ugh.
Is it gonna
Well,
hurt?
I kind of feel that though, because what's the first thing they do when they bring me a plate and they tell me it's hot?
Yeah.
Some of us
But
have a little bit of
if
something, what do you
somebody, but
call
if
it, where
somebody
we do what we're
said,
told not to do.
yeah, but saying this is a hot plate, you might burn your finger. I bet even you would be like, radioactive?
California says everything's radioactive. So at this point, what do you believe in that?
Fair enough. All right, shall we move on to the
Let's do it.
final episode of the week?
And just
All
to be
right,
clear, you managed to hit play on this without reading the description.
I hit play without reading the description,
Okay,
which
let's
I will
go.
read now. Because Paramount Plus should learn to bury the lead
Yeah.
in
Well,
some of these descriptions where the course of history is altered when a time rift brings a Starship Enterprise from the past into the present with a crew that includes Tasha Yar, which isn't even really the best
no, it really
explanation of
isn't.
the episode because
Like,
that makes it sound like she's on the ship that came through the rift.
it's
But
it is
episode
awesome that
5
they brought her back. It's a shitty description of the episode.
episode 15 of season 3, Yesterday's Enterprise. I need to get a little more whiskey before I can talk about this one.
Because it was that bad or that good?
Um
You always do this before you're like, this is a 10.
I have not done that before right now.
Okay.
This was a masterpiece episode.
Mhm.
This is the only question I have, can I go higher than a 10 with this? It was that good.
Well,
Like
Spinal
I did
Tap
not
turned it to 11, right?
I did not take many notes with this.
I didn't bother.
I watched this episode 3 times today. Like I finished the episode and I was like, I need to see that again. I watched it again, and then Abby watched it, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna sit here and watch it again because
It's such a great
this
episode.
episode was unbelievable. I think this is hands down to this point the best episode I have seen yet. Not next gen, all of it.
Yeah.
This episode was just unbelievable. It was a perfect example of what you can possibly do with this medium of
Mhm.
storytelling. And it was amazing. Like beyond that. It was hands down the best episode we've seen yet. I loved it. All of it was just phenomenal. And to think that this was just a random week
It's not even
episode.
like a season finale.
No, just a middle of the season, just middle of February episode that they released, and it was this. It was like a goddamn movie.
It's not even a
I
mid-season
mean,
break. They did an episode the week before and an episode 2 weeks after.
yeah. It yeah, it was a absolutely phenomenal episode.
Abby?
I told this to Aaron already. I was like, this is an amazing episode. As we were watching it, and he goes, like making it seem like you hated it.
I had to bury the
So
lead, unlike Paramount Plus.
I love it. Obviously, I told Aaron this is one of my favorite episodes. After starting it, I was like, now I remembered. And I remembered so much more as I continued to watch it. But agreed, everything about it. It read like a movie. It had this dynamic plot. It had this, we have to make this decision that we don't know is going to be right or not. And we
Mhm.
have to decide to make this choice off of honestly someone who isn't even bridge crew or Starfleet for that matter, but we're going to trust this gut on it.
Mhm.
And it to the tune of what, how many thousands of lives at this point? Like 2 ships worth of lives, but a potential to save millions because of the war. So I did find that just it was a provocative story. You just wanted to know what's going to happen, and you feel bad. You always feel bad sacrificing people in a storyline.
Yeah.
We hate people dying in stories, but at the same time, we're unsatisfied if they don't.
Yep.
We don't like happy endings, and so it hit that unhappy ending, and somehow managed to kill off one of our characters without actually killing off one of our characters. That was like a really good way to repeat a character we already lost without making us really mad and getting rid of a new character or one that we've become even more attached to. So obviously,
it was like, the storytelling of it, the set design was awesome, the lighting they did, the costumes were different enough, and then on top of all that, there was good action in it. There was, you had the spaceships and aliens going on, executed to almost perfection. And you've got the Klingons coming in. They're talking about this war with the Klingons and battles with the Romulans. So, even though you didn't see any aliens really in the episode, you had the spaceships, you had all that action that on the surface level was just like, this is just awesome on the surface. But then you've got that depth to it as well. And the callbacks to, well, Tasha Yar and some of the other stuff. And then how like it hit the feels too when Guinan is just like, you're dead.
Yeah.
But I do know it was an empty death, a death without purpose. And it's just like,
And I saw that
Damn.
line, and there's been a lot of discussion in the decades since that episode of how they did Tasha dirty.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of the writers and showrunners and stuff had said that they wish they had done it differently. And so I wondered when I heard that line, I wondered if that was the writing staff acknowledging that.
It feels like it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and it felt like a nice way to retcon a character,
yeah.
and her death, because they still kill her off,
Yep.
or at least they very strongly insinuate that she was killed off.
Gotta keep the timeline
But
intact.
do they?
It's insinuated, and that's where it's left. But yeah, it was, just I don't know if there are enough good things to say about this episode. Everything about it.
Did you give this one a 10? What did you give this one?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
10.
Okay.
10.5.
Yeah. I texted Greg earlier because I figured he wasn't going to be on, and I didn't want to text. I didn't want to say anything to either of you before we were actually talking here, but I did text Greg, and I was like, I'm going full Greg on the podcast tonight.
I'm actually a little disappointed he isn't here to justify his love for Tasha Yar.
He'd give it a 20. He'd give it a 20.
He probably would. So, I love this episode too. I gave it a 9. I'm biased though, because as great as this episode is, I know there are even better episodes.
And that's a little bit what Greg said to me. He was just like, "You're just in season 3, and all that." But
I really debated whether this is a 9 or a 10, even going into it and knowing what I was going to say. I will say this, because it's such an incredible episode, and you guys both clearly loved the writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abby, yeah, you agree with that?
Yes.
That's awesome, Abby, because you're gonna love DS9, because the guy who wrote this episode is the showrunner for fucking DS9.
Okay, but does it have to have Ferengi? They're so damn annoying.
It does, and you
They're
understand
so
why.
annoying.
They're so great.
Work is just annoying and skeezy.
You can't base that on 3 episodes.
I've watched more than 3.
4.
Maybe I've watched like the same 8, like 5 times.
That's
trying
the
to get
problem.
into it. No.
You're gonna have to. You know you're gonna.
Oh, I'm a wormhole.
I'm just telling you.
Warp somebody off. The wormhole.
I'm just telling
Oh,
you.
the Cardassians. Summarize the whole show right there.
There are.
Otto is gonna lose his substance.
Can we at least pronounce it right though?
I don't know. What is his name?
Odo.
Odo. I know someone who I think looks like Odo, so that always cracks me up.
I just like that. I don't know. Odo's great. Quark is great. That whole show's great. I'm just telling you that if you like this, you will like DS9 because the vast majority of DS9 is like what this episode is. It's just
Hmm.
so incredibly written.
So
Oh, see, now you're setting those high
I
expectations.
Yep, I
so
am.
I looked up a few things I try to generally avoid. I waited till after I watched the episode and gave a rating for it. And I was like, I want to know where this ranks
Mhm.
in terms of all Star Trek episodes.
Yep.
And I saw one article, I don't even remember where it was from, but it was for like the 57th anniversary of the release of the first season of original series. They uh they said we're gonna rank the top 57 episodes, and I think they had two DS9 episodes at 1 and 2, and then they had this one as like the third best Star Trek episode,
I bet
period.
I can guess at least one of the DS.
I didn't, I tried
That's
to,
totally fine. I'm not
I
even
was
gonna
just
spoil it.
scrolling through until I could see where this episode was because I figured it's gonna be there. And yeah, when I was like, man, do I give this one a 10? Because I don't see how I can't. And then I looked it up on IMDb and I was like 9.2. All right, I got this one right.
Yeah. So the jumping ahead to the trivia, the top thing on IMDb is at the 50th anniversary Star Trek convention in Vegas in 2016, fans voted this the fifth best episode of the entire franchise.
Yeah,
It
like I
doesn't
said,
list what any of the others are, it just says it's
to
the
what to what we've watched so far, I would say this is the best episode we've seen yet.
yeah.
And there have been some unbelievable episodes that we've watched in the original series and next gen. But yeah, this was just on a level of its own with what we've seen.
And I think this is where I tend to like the more cerebral episodes better because I gave A Measure of a Man a 10 when you both gave it nines.
I gave it a
And
9. Yeah.
we flipped that here, right? I gave this a 9 and you both gave it 10s. And that's personal preference, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with either viewpoint. Um, I just tend to like the more cerebral, philosophical episodes more than the,
And see, I
action
thought there
packed. And
was
that
a
feels
lot.
a disservice.
I think even
I think there
saying
is,
it's
but not
action
to the
packed,
same extent.
I think that's all at the surface level of this one, but there was so much depth and they were tackling some complex stuff with time travel, alternate timelines and all that, and then the impacts of things and weighing those potential consequences and the unknown and all of that. I thought that
I
was
think,
just really like there was a lot of depth in this episode.
but I think it also felt just a tiny bit rushed. Like
Hmm.
and look, I still give it a 9. It's a great
Yeah.
episode, right? I
He hates
think,
shitting on the best episode we've seen. He hates Star Trek.
but like there's certain things like you've got effectively the entire command crew of Picard saying one thing, and then Guinan
Hmm.
telling him something different, and then Picard's just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna listen to her." Like, fuck you guys.
Hmm.
Not that it was the wrong call. It just is. They kind of rushed through that analysis, and
Yeah.
they rushed through the whole, you know, why they were doing what they were doing to
That would
arrive at,
not have held up in court. It had gone horribly wrong the other way.
for sure. I'm not saying it's the wrong call. It's very
Yeah.
clearly the right call, right? It felt rushed and it felt a little forced. It's a
Yeah.
minor nitpick in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I can see that, and that's where I guess I still see this and I do look at it in terms of they had a lot of constraints on them still. They were on the advertisers timeline,
Yep.
had to hit their marks for the episode, for the commercial breaks and all of that. And
There's
and
always extenuating circumstances, right?
and so given that, uh I don't know how they could have done this episode better. Yeah, given those constraints that they had, That's where I was like, this was them showing this is what you can possibly do in this medium, and they nailed it
Yep.
like so well. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah,
I do
phenomenal
know the
episode.
real reason why you gave it a 10 though.
Enlighten me. Oh, yeah, because Picard was just like, fuck you, I'm not gonna surrender the
Yeah,
goddamn
blow the
ship.
damn ship up. That's why you gave it.
Yep. Oh,
I'm glad it clicked.
I didn't take that many notes, but when as soon as they said surrender and prepare to be boarded, I was like, "Oh, I'm watching this very
Yeah, I bet.
closely." And he was like, "That'll be the day."
I love
Grizzled,
him jumping
grizzled
over
old vet, grizzled old vet who doesn't give a shit about diplomacy.
God, when Riker dies and he gets up and jumps over the tactical console to take over on weapons and oh I,
So this is an episode I would love to see a director's cut,
mhm.
because I think it would have an even bigger impact. So I
Yeah,
did read some of the trivia on this one, and they intended to show all of the individual deaths on the Enterprise as they were going through that. But for time, and because they were just like, okay, this is getting a bit graphic,
yep,
they cut it down to just Riker. And you saw him, and it was like, damn, that was pretty graphic for what I'm sure airs as TV PG uh, for network television. I mean, there's a nasty gash on his neck and up his face. Um, and when Garrett, the Captain Garrett,
yep.
took like a piece of shrapnel to the forehead. It was just like, man, it was kind of graphic there, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think they had intended to show all of them like individually dying one by one. And that I think as like a director's cut of the episode or producer's cut, whatever it would be just
Very.
amazing to see, and would probably just add that much more to the impact the episode would make and the sacrifice that they were making when they I liked his line, we shall never know for certain if Guinan is correct. I mean, as
Mhm.
soon as it went back, they ceased to exist.
Yeah, that timeline was gone.
It was done.
Um, I lost my
But then
state.
it's weird to think that timeline then never happened.
Yep. It is an episode that I will watch over and over and over again. It is an episode I was super excited
Hmm.
to watch with the two of you and discuss because it is, as we've seen, one of the best of the best. And to be honest, I had forgotten that it was written by Ira Stephen Bear until I looked at the spreadsheet that lists all that out. And it's like, oh, that explains why I like this episode so much because I like his writing style and how he tackles subjects like that. So
So
made me happy.
I I in looking at this episode, I thought if this was the first episode somebody watched, I could imagine that they would look at it and feel like there's a lot to this show.
Yep.
I don't think it's like an unapproachable episode though if you haven't seen everything else. Certain things, seeing Tasha Yar, that's not going to matter to
Yep.
you. Although as the episode progresses, you'll probably understand, oh yeah, she's not there, so something happened.
Yep.
Um, but then at the same time, I can also see like we were finishing up watching it when Abby was watching it, and some people came over, some friends, excuse me, some friends showed up, and it was just like, okay, we've got these Klingon battle cruisers shooting at the Enterprise with phasers from 1990. I was like, I bet this looks totally lame. Um, but yeah, like if you're coming in for the final 10 minutes, you're probably not going to get any kind of
Yeah.
uh, draw into it. But I could see if this was the first episode, you were just like, I'm going to check out this Star Trek show and see what it's about. And if this is the first episode you saw, I don't know if that'll get you hooked for life or if then you see another episode and you're just like, oh, that's it. Uh, but I could see seeing this would be like, oh wow, there is depth and quality to this show that I never would have guessed otherwise.
Hmm. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, it was good enough that I wasn't like, oh, Abby, yeah, you watch your episode and like I'll see you later. I was just like, I'm sitting down, I'm watching this. I don't care if I've
Yeah.
already seen it
Well,
twice
and
today.
does it have one of the most powerful lines in all of Star Trek in it too? Do you know what line I'm talking about?
I wrote down so many, but I don't know.
Let's make sure history
Worf
never
calling
forgets the
prune
name
juice. Oh,
Enterprise.
let's say Worf calling prune juice a warrior's
I
drink.
think that's hysterical, by the way. Um,
Or Guinan calling Worf a coward because he's
yeah.
afraid of human women.
Yeah, that opening scene was very good too.
Yeah. But I love just the subtle storytelling of this in that we know there's a treaty with the Klingons, but we
Hmm.
know almost nothing about it.
Yep.
And now we find out like, okay, they were defending this base, and if that didn't work, and they're like, yeah, the ship just disappeared, uh, and changed the trajectory of history. Now, the one critique I would have of it is when you think of alternate timelines and then them interacting, it's like, okay, so now this version of the Enterprise is there at the exact same moment with the exact same people, minus Worf because of the Klingon deal, plus Tasha because she's not dead and
Yep.
all that. But it's like everything else got them to that exact same spot at that exact same moment. It's like, really? Kind of like I think it was the Nazi episode of the original series where
Yep.
again it's like okay, so everything had to line up exactly in both timelines at that same time, same people, same everything.
Careful, man. Don't
That
talk
might be
yourself
my
into
that
a
might be
nine.
my only gripe about it, and even then, I'm just like I don't even care because
Don't
it
talk yourself
was
into the
so well
nine.
executed. Oh, absolutely not. It was so well executed, and yeah, and then
Well,
Picard being so introspective of like, who's to say this history is more important?
yep.
Like that's
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
that is the
just
debate.
crazy. Yeah,
Which timeline is more important? There's entire Marvel TV shows about that, right?
yeah, yeah, and it was really amazing that again, I mean, we've seen episodes before where the characters are where the actors are playing their character but different. And that's again what we were seeing here. But at the same time, it felt like we were watching all of those characters. They were just, uh, dare I say, tougher. I mean, they were all rougher for sure. But I mean, they were 20 years into a war that they were
Yeah,
losing. And,
different timeline, different life events
but
leading to the moment, right?
but in some instances we've seen them playing almost the opposite of their characters, whereas
Yep.
this one they were playing, it still felt like you're not watching this strange version of Picard. It's just like no, you're watching Picard given this scenario or given this background. So it was the same as episodes where they're playing different characters but also different, and yeah,
Well,
just
it
so
just
good.
tells you how much of who we are is defined by the experiences we have in life,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
Well, any other closing thoughts, or do you want some trivia?
Let's go trivia unless Abby, you have anything to add.
She's rethinking everything and making it a one, or her video is frozen. I can't tell.
I can't either.
She's holding very still.
I think her video's frozen. Abby, are you there? We're gonna see a cat jump up on the couch.
Oh,
Nope, she gone.
you gone. Okay, we'll run through some trivia. She'll come back. Um, if she has something to say, you can just edit it back
Yeah.
into the right place.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see here. So I think you probably noticed this, but the uniforms used by the crew of the Enterprise C were those employed by the original series movies.
Yep. They
Sans the
they
collar
looked
undershirts.
familiar.
Yep. Uh, there's a code for them. It's like the Massive Maroons or something like that. I can't remember what the fandom calls them.
Hmm.
But yeah. The ambient noise level aboard the ship was increased in the alternate timeline. Consoles and displays were made more audible. The warp engines made a dull roar sound. Inter-ship communication announcements increased, and the doors made a swoosh sound reminiscent of the sound effect used in the original Star Trek series. Set lighting was also significantly changed and darkened, which makes me also remember, I didn't bring it up, but I wrote it down, that they also switched back to that technique from the original series, with a lot of like the Mirror Universe
The
episodes where you
the
lit up their
lighting
eyes.
right in the eyes.
Yeah,
Yep.
reusing that, which I thought was a very cool effect.
Yeah. Yeah, I even made note of the lighting. I thought the lighting was just
Great.
superb
Just
in this. Yeah.
it just reminds me of a lot of those like military movies like Hunt for Red October and stuff like
Yep.
that. They're in the submarine and the lights are all dimmed and dark and
Yeah.
yellow and red alert were not used. Instead, battle alert was used, followed by a condition, which was either yellow or red.
Hmm.
This episode won an Emmy Award for outstanding sound editing for a series.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I can believe that too. In a hallway scene, Lieutenant Barrett can be heard paged. Although Barrett is a fairly common surname, it's been established by the producers that this is an homage to Majel Barrett.
Hmm.
Isn't that cool? Um, the shooting model of the Enterprise C was designed by Rick Sternbach, who I don't know that we've talked about on this podcast, but he has designed a lot of the more modern era ships, especially from next gen on,
Hmm.
somewhat into more modern Trek, but that's his thing. And
Hmm.
constructed by model maker Gregory Jane, I'm probably mispronouncing that. To depict the damage suffered during the ship's battle with the Romulans, the model was scorched with sparklers and fireworks.
Hmm.
Let's see here. This is Denise Crosby's favorite episode. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. No
Because
kidding.
her character in season one was trash, and in this one she actually got to
Yeah.
be a decent character.
Well,
Imagine
yeah,
that.
she didn't have to like secure anything on the Enterprise,
Yeah,
so she didn't have anything to fuck up in this episode.
that that too. Um, so yeah,
I did notice Wesley was in a command uniform. That
yeah,
was
with a
noteworthy and different.
Valence and rank and the whole
Yep.
works. All right. So yesterday's Enterprise wound up needing to be filmed ahead of schedule in order to accommodate the availability of both Denise Crosby and Whoopi Goldberg. Writers initially expressed concern that putting a rush on finishing the script would result in poor or ineffective qualities in the story. I think that was not a problem.
Bullet dodged.
Yeah, right? Random bit of trivia. One of Quentin Tarantino's favorite Next Generation episodes. In a
Huh?
radio interview, he explains how if he were to make a Star Trek film, he might have done a version of this story.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Quentin Tarantino version of this episode. That would be great. And a lot more violent than what we
I was
saw.
gonna say you can guarantee we would have seen all of those deaths.
Yeah, everyone. Um, Cordrazine, did you catch them talk about that in the episode?
I did not.
So cordrazine, in fact, an overdose of cordrazine is what drove Dr. McCoy mad in The City on the Edge of Forever. By the
Hmm.
time of Next Gen, it had been improved and now appears as tricordrazine, and apparently without fear of overdoses.
Okay.
So there you
So
go.
one of cordrazine you can OD. Three of it,
Yeah, you
you're
get
good to
three of those
go.
connected together, you're good. Um, a page for Dr. Salar can be heard in the first sickbay scene. She's the Vulcan medical officer featured in the Schizoid Man.
No.
This is listed as one of the 10 essential episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation in the 2008 reference book Star Trek 101.
Could see that. Yeah,
Uh,
and like I said, I would if you were wanting to show somebody and explain it, somebody's just like, I want to make TV shows, or somebody's saying, I want to make Star Trek episodes, and you want to show them like, here is the to this point the pinnacle of what we can do. I don't know how much better you can get than this.
Absolutely. Um, Episode was ranked number 3 in the Star Trek Next Generation Viewers Choice Marathon. Let's see here. This is the only episode in which both Tasha Yar and Guinan are in the same scene together and engaging in conversation with one another. This also marks the only time Tasha is seen in 10 forward, obviously, because
Makes
there's
sense.
season 2.
Yep.
Let's see. This is a funny one. I like this one. Though it has often speculated that the captain's chair on the bridge of the alternate universe Enterprise D was raised to give the captain a more authoritative, almost regal position. Producers confirmed it was elevated for a more practical reason to accommodate Picard's leap over the tactical station during the Enterprise's battle against the Klingons.
Hmm.
Let's see here. The bridge of the Enterprise C is a redress of the Enterprise D's battle bridge, which in of itself
Okay.
is a redress of the bridge used for the Enterprise refit and the Enterprise A. All told, the set served as the bridge for 4 ships named Enterprise.
Hmm.
Um, a freak weather event destroyed the set in the early 1980s, requiring a new similar set to be constructed and used for the film series.
Hmm. Interesting.
Um, in the original script, or um, each alternate Enterprise regular crew member were seen to be individually killed during the final battle with the Klingons. Notably, Data was to be electrocuted and Wesley was to be decapitated. God damn. However, time and budget constraints, as well as concerns about the graphic nature, resulted in reduction of the scene, with only Riker's death depicted.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the trivia I had seen that I mentioned that yeah,
that
it'd be
stuff.
really interesting to see the director's cut of that.
Yep. In an
But
early,
I don't think a director's cut would have to be that much longer. I mean, like you said, some of the things felt forced, but on the flip side of that, I felt like there was no time wasted in
oh,
the
for sure.
episode. There was
Absolutely.
no filler time that was just like, oh, we got to get
Those,
15 more seconds to get to commercial. It was they had to cut out stuff, but they were still able to maintain all of those key elements that made the episode just so damn good.
yeah. In an early draft of the script for the episode, the Klingon commander who demands the Enterprise surrender during the final battle is going to be Worf, which I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't. You know,
That would have been awesome.
that would have been awesome. So Ronald D. Moore, showrunner, noted, "We
Hmm.
brought Denise Crosby back to kill off Tasha Yar a second time. It was a great opportunity to send the character off in a big heroic sacrifice because nobody was really happy with the way she left in the first season. Nobody on the show really liked it. The fans didn't like it. I'm not even sure she really liked it. So yesterday's Enterprise was a chance to kill her right."
You got to wonder if she came back to that episode and was just like, damn, I messed this one up.
I mean, probably. What I mean, she hasn't done a whole lot, like at all, right?
Yeah. But I
So,
mean, just at that point, I mean, you get that probably happiness of being able to come back, but then
mhm,
bittersweet because you're here for a week or 2 weeks, however long they're shooting it,
yep.
and then you're gone again. But yeah, it's like for a character that I largely did not care about when she was on in the first season and thought her send off was very nice with the way they dealt with it. Um, yeah, for a character that I kind of nothinged throughout most of her time on the show,
Mhm,
I thought she was great in this episode.
yep. Agreed. In the alternative timeline, Picard is wearing brown contact lenses to make his character darker, which I didn't catch, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the last one I've got, which I've read like 4 times now, and I think I get it, but also, man, I don't know if this would have been any good. In early development for the story, Ambassador Sarek, played by Mark Leonard, used the Guardian of Forever from the city on the edge of Forever to replace Surak, the father of Vulcan philosophy of logic, who had been killed, resulting in a new timeline, rather than Tasha Yar performing a similar service.
No.
I don't think it would have been as good, anywhere near
Well, the story would have been entirely different because
entirely
then the
different,
story would have
but
been
also
around that
dumb.
character, not Tasha. So I think it was a nice callback for the fans probably to see like, oh, she's back.
Yep.
She's back. Um, but yeah, I thought, yeah, just all of it so good. Yeah.
Agreed.
I I yeah. First 10, I think since we kind of dialed in the rating system we're using,
Yep.
first 10 I think I've given. I don't think I had any tens. I think in the initial calculations when I didn't really have any rhyme or reason, I gave a couple tens early on
Early in the
in the
first
original
season too,
series
yes.
and
Yeah.
changed those later subsequently. But yeah, this is I think legitimately the best episode we've watched yet. Um, and while there have been amazing episodes like the um God, what's the name of it? Me Matter of a Man or
Measure of a Man.
Measure of a Man. That one, phenomenal episode. Yeah, just a number of just phenomenal episodes throughout. But yeah, this one will I'm sure this one will stick with me for some time.
It is hands down one of the best.
Yep. Yeah, and based on talking to Greg a little bit today, sounds like there's just more to come. And he was just like, "Oh yeah, you're there. It's just getting started." Um, but yeah, this has been a hell of a season so far, and yeah, knowing that there are some higher rated episodes out there on IMDb, I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be so much fun.
Well, there you go. We're going to travel back in time for a moment and consider. 10-year-old Aaron decides to watch an episode of Star Trek one evening. He turns on the TV and sees a rerun episode of Next Generation, Yesterday's Enterprise. He's immediately hooked and begins watching everything Star Trek he can find. Fast forward to 2021, and he's on vacation with his wife and some friends, actively participating in the Star Trek conversations over dinner, as he has done many times in life. Abby sees a lizard and says she loves lizards. The proclamation doesn't elicit the response that he once saw a single episode of Voyager. And we're not sitting here today. I'm happy with the timeline we're in, because I get to enjoy these episodes now, and it gave me a unique perspective to start the podcast. Our different perspectives on these episodes has been a fun element of this project. My perspective as a new viewer, much older than Abby and Nate were when they first watched any of these episodes, juxtaposed with them who have seen most of these episodes multiple times over the past decades, I don't know. I am still just really enjoying it. Yesterday's Enterprise was easily the best episode I've seen yet. It was so good. I legitimately did watch it 3 times on the day we recorded. I've watched it again since then too, and it held up. It was such an amazing use of the medium, masterful storytelling, amazing production value. I don't think there's enough good I can say about it. I was blown away by that episode. And I think it shows what's possible to do with the limitations imposed by the network TV format. And they nailed it. It's not very often that I see an individual episode hit perfectly on all cylinders like that. Another one that comes to mind is an episode from the middle of the first season of Alien Earth, an otherwise okay to fine show. It started stronger than it finished, but I digress. In the middle of the first season, there was an episode called In Space No One, and it was in a tier of its own for anything new I have watched recently. I don't know if I would give that episode a 10, but it was sure close. Sometimes an episode just works. Now, speaking of revisiting things that didn't work, every couple years something will come up that reminds me of the trailer for the remake of Ironside. Check the link in the description if you want to see what I'm talking about. I've got a different view of the world from down here. Seriously, it is so tilting, and I don't know why I do this to myself. And with that, I think this is as good a place as any to call it for this week. If you're watching along with us, next week we will be watching the next 3 episodes of Next Generation Season 3, The Offspring, Sins of the Father, and Allegiance. As always, if you're enjoying what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast, to Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook, and to baldlygopodcast.com. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. Nate and I have another podcast, The In-Lap, in which we discuss each race weekend of the current Formula One season. You can get episodes of The In-Lap wherever you get your podcasts. For Abby and Nate, this is Aaron reminding you to be like alternate timeline grizzled old veteran Picard and never give up, never surrender. Oh my god, this is a piece of shit show.